Hello everyone, it's lovely to be here with you all in Sydney. So today we've been updated on how the media industry is responding to the disruption that's total TV. But for you marketers in the room, what's more important to you is how this disruption is going to impact on your business outcomes. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to present some analysis that suggests that the real impact has been underestimated. First, a very quick intro to Adgile. We are an independent TV measurement business. Our proprietary AI is used by over 300 Australian businesses to reduce waste, improve ROI, and grow their brands. Next slide. Okay, so the whole premise of using VOD to add reach to linear TV is based on the assumption that the two channels are the same. So to test that, we analysed 3 years' worth of data from over 500 of Australia's top TV advertisers. And we observed how changes to their TV mix impacted on their website traffic. We then created these 5 segments you can see over here based on how each individual advertiser was transitioning spend. Our first and biggest segment are all those advertisers that are transitioning spend aligned with audience migration between platforms. So for that reason, they became our control segment. The next segment in orange are all those advertisers that jumped between linear to VOD, moving a significant amount of their dollars. So last year, that accounted for 31% of all advertisers. Now that's double on the previous year. Our next segments are all those big spenders increasing investment across all channels, followed by retreaters, those advertisers that are reducing all spend. Finally, an interesting segment at the end, our sponsors. Those are those advertisers, 40 last year, that actually increased linear spend in lieu of VOD, mostly because they were sponsoring sports or tentpole programming. So what happened to the website traffic for each of those segments? Well, starting at the top, we can see that those retreaters, people reducing all their spend, their website traffic went down quite a lot. Now that makes sense because many of those were reducing their total budgets as well. Our big spenders, also, not surprising, they increased their website traffic by 15% year on year against the control. But what's of note are those bottom 2 segments. Firstly, our linear sponsors, they grew their website traffic. But the segments we want to focus on are those jumpers, people reducing significantly and moving large parts of their budget across to VOD. They lost website traffic quite a bit, 9% year on year. So if website traffic is an acknowledged proxy for current or future business outcomes, then this should be concerning to all of us because it would indicate that the effectiveness of advertising on VOD is less than linear. So let's have a look at that in a bit more detail. So just looking at that jumper segment. So splitting it by industry, we can see that nearly every brand category was negatively affected, but some a lot more than others. So why is that? Well, when we looked at how each of those brands used TV, we got one of our biggest differentiators. Those brands employing reach-based planning lost 6 times more traffic than brands buying a targeted audience segment. So let's recap. Those advertisers that are moving a large amount of their money from linear to VOD are losing website traffic. And those advertisers that have been using TV to do what TV does best, reach broad audiences, they are the ones most affected. So it's important to say, I'm not suggesting that those brands should not have moved their money. We all know that linear TV has been in decline, and some audiences much faster than others. But the data clearly shows that as brands become more reliant on VOD for reach-based planning, effectiveness is declining. So that has serious implications for all of us. And of course, the question is, why is that happening? After all, if it's on the big screen, it's just TV, right? Well, marketing science has proven that linear TV was highly effective, in large part because it was a lean-back medium. Relaxed viewers meant that brands and adverts were committed to long-term memory. Now, we know that VOD is a spectrum of lean-in. So at Adgile, we've created a number of metrics to help try quantify the extent of this lean. And one of those metrics is words per minute. And what you can see up here is the average words per minute of both TV content and advert content. So for YouTube, we're looking at long-form videos like Mr. Beast. Now, linear TV, broadcast TV, has a very relaxed average words per minute of 112. Now, it's no coincidence that adverts nicely straddle that pace. Sales activation adverts wanting to generate urgency and action are paced a bit faster. Brand adverts wanting to slowly compound in people's subconscious are paced slower. Decades of empirical research and creative optimization has brought us to this point. So to put these numbers in context, my presentation today has been delivered at around 125 words per minute, which then, when you consider YouTube at almost 180 words per minute, it begs the question, can creative that has been made for the lean-back style and relaxed pace of linear TV work as effectively amongst that high-octane YouTube content? Now, I'm not saying that YouTube is not effective. It is. It's really effective. But I am saying that if you simply run variations of linear content on YouTube, it will be less effective. Now let's touch on an enormously complex topic of media frequency. An average, a 1+ reach campaign on linear TV will deliver you an average frequency of 10. Now that is 5 times greater than that exact same campaign executed on VOD, frequency capped at 2, which everyone's doing. That means if you moved all your money across to VOD, frequency capped at 2, the average viewer will see the ad 8 fewer times a week. Now, regardless of all of our personal positions and what we think about the reach and frequency debate, the fact is that is a fundamental difference. So if you've moved large parts of your budget from linear to VOD, you have unwittingly potentially introduced a significant and largely untested change to your media strategy. So I believe that we urgently need to come to the realization that effective frequency models for TV were developed when a frequency tail could not be avoided. Therefore, we've absolutely no idea whether that extended frequency, which always amounted to the lion's share of all the people reached, was actually playing a critical role in campaign effectiveness. So those are just 2 data points in Adgile's data set that shows that just because it's on the big screen doesn't mean it's the same. Fundamental changes in technology, user-generated content, have all introduced fundamental changes to those screens. Therefore, any lifting and shifting of budgets or of creative or of media strategy needs to be done with a lot of caution. Reach and frequency are both really important. To maintain effectiveness, frequency, holistic frequency, has to be managed. Yes, not too much, but equally not too little. Finally, I'm going to leave you with the truth, a truth, that within disruption is always opportunity. The fact is, we should all recognize and appreciate and admit to ourselves that there is so much that we do not yet know about VOD and total TV. But those brands who are able to learn the fastest, respond the quickest, are likely to be able to pick up market share. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shaun. Ad loads on BVOD and frequency, massive conversation. When you look at it across the clients that you guys work with, do you know what's the optimum frequency on these platforms? Do you have any idea, you know, where you reach a sort of saturation point, or it just becomes less effective? What have you seen?
No, that's a great point.
Do you have any figures?
So there's a lot of talk about frequency. I've actually published some stuff on fantastic MIQ. And the problem is that the technology out there makes it really hard to control frequency. So you can have, in the same ad break, you can have multiple technologies all competing with the same ad from the same client, and they could win 5 different spots, but they actually come from a direct buy, a programmatic buy, or a separate targeted buy. Frequency is really hard. You need to be, I believe, people are best looking at a frequency cap per day and then testing. The fact is, everyone's doing 2. Some people in sports betting are doing 8, but only in a couple of days and highly targeted. How can we learn if we're only doing 2? We need to actually understand a lot more.
Okay, test and learn. That's where we're at the moment. Is that what you're saying?
100%.
Okay, mate. Everyone, ladies and gentlemen, let's give Shaun another massive round of applause. Thank you for doing that. That was a brilliant presentation. Right, ladies and gentlemen, it's the provocateur in the house who's going to speak next. Sorry, Franey, you're rolling your eyes at that one. Let's give a massive round of applause. Mark Frank's going to talk about why Australia needs an alternative currency. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Franey.
Thanks, mate.